Hey, what's up, legends? Welcome to 30 Days of Bible Learning. Today is day number 15, which means we're halfway through the first challenge, or the challenge of round 11. Today's verse is 1.Corinthians 16, verse 14, which says, "Let all you do be done in love." Today I got a huge whiteboard right on my desk sitting there, so I can just start drawing like you saw just already at the beginning. And I'm excited to be trying this out for I've used it yesterday in my my 3D boot camp. I'm mixing all the words today. I've been using this whiteboard for the very first time in the 3D boot camp that I launched yesterday. We had our first session with over 118 students who just joined live for the session. We have more students in the session who are watching the recordings afterwards, but we got a lot of students yesterday. Now, the cool thing about doing it on a whiteboard is that it's super easy to draw on, but it's also super easy to erase. And that's why it's going to be fun trying out this here for the very first time. So for me, always something that I like to do is challenging myself with trying out new materials, new tools, new pens, and all of the cool stuff that's going on. So I got here a lot of these couple different color tools here, and let's get started. So what I would usually do is I would either come up with a composition. So here I can sketch out different composition types. So for example, here, let all, and then for example, you do, let's see how I can fit in that. You do be done in love. Let's see if I haven't forgotten any words. Let all you do be done in love. Yes. Another way would be to do pretty similar style. So again, what I would kind of do is create like these boxes in my mind here, then create these other boxes. For example, here I could try to do a kind of like a two slanted word, then the be done in here, large, and then in, and then finally copy this one and redo that again. So that's a composition style that I would create and come up with. So filling that all in would look a little bit more than like this. Let all, then here, probably change up the style. You do be done, and then here perhaps do it just like this. Be done in love. So very simple, very elegant, and so keep it simple like this. Another way also would be actually to reuse this word and to shorten it down to do let all be done in love. For example, let all be done, and then we have the in love. That's where might actually be able to use kind of more of a script style, and then figuring out where we would add the in, and kind of like, what if we could use the in here. Whoop, that is a lot of ink. And then kind of like taking that around. But then again, it's kind of like missing, like it's all very simplest. But what about changing some styles here? Let all be done in love. Still not the vibe that I would like to go for, but we're not too far off. Let all be done in love. Again, all cool design and illustration that you can come up with. But one thing that I wanted to see is to actually do like a ribbon style effect where you draw like multiple lines and then finally like cross them over here and then have like these lines that would come out more and more. Like that would be one way to do something, to create like this lettering style with like all of these lines coming out and then just trying to create like an awesome lettering piece just with those elements here. For example, here the E could be just drawn up like that, maybe. A T could be then crossed off, etc. And so that is how we could also create our lettering piece, is to create like a whole lettering style like this. Another one would be to create just the word love, like outline it, and then kind of creating these petals styled shape, which is also something really cool, which I've already done a couple of times. And so trying to figure out like what works on this surface is kind of like the challenge for me right now, to do something really cool, something really well. But I also really love or enjoy this layout here. So what I will do is I will just sketch out this layout here on the side, which is cool because I can just do that on the surface, having like these two lines that be done, and then kind of matching that up, and then we'll create the rest in here. So let me erase all of this there. What I can also do is just grab a nice little wet wipe to erase all of these lines properly, and then I can go in and start drawing. Now, one thing that is a little bit more challenging is to actually draw it right away onto the surface, which is kind of what I'm going to also attempt to do. So I have the design now in mind. I'm just gonna have to try and nail it right off the bat, like right from the start. And this is gonna be a little bit more challenging. So trying to see, all right, let's start here. Let's see if I can do a perfect lettering piece right from the start. So that needs a little bit more concentration, but I feel like we can pull it off if we concentrate enough and don't talk too much. So here, trying to get to the middle, which shows me that the L is a little bit short, because I know that the middle is about here. And then I can probably set off the A here, take it, like, make sure that it lowers back down so we have that bend. And so keeping that bend in here is the challenging part, making sure that those letters bend all together. And so that's kind of where I need to land on with the L here, but all, and then the U. So right now I'm drawing out just the outlines of every single letter, which is the one part that I'm struggling with the most, because you're trying to get like all the lines, the weight, etc. perfect, but it's a great exercise. Really, it's a tough exercise, but we wouldn't be here if we didn't do tough things, right? Practicing these lines. And so it's kind of knowing your letters really well that is the challenge. And I feel like I'm overshooting this U a lot because the D and the do has to come in here as well. And it shouldn't take more than half of the space. So I might need to just redo the whole part here and do it a tiny little bit smaller, but it was a good start. And every time we do it again, we can do it just a tiny little bit better, because now we have had this practice. Also, I can look at the letters here. Those are also very useful for me to use. And the thing that I'm realizing is that I'm not going to have a lot of space down here if I do too large as well. So maybe I can actually take up the all you do. Instead of starting the D here a little bit lower, still I will overshoot here. See, now I would wish I could use like a tool to push things around. And so it's okay to restart over. It is an exercise. So now I'm just moving the whole D a little bit further down. And the O. And so now those would be actually lines you would add towards the end, but we're already trying to add that now. Let all you do, and then we have the done. Super bold letters. Now I see that it's all not that straight because I have a little bit of tilted view on the whole thing. I can add here what do I add? A circle, a square, add a circle. Be done. And then that's where the center is. And so pretty much just gonna add some dots here to help me navigate that well. And I'm afraid that I'm actually gonna erase all of these lines once I'm starting drawing here, but be done in love. All right. So now one thing that I can add here is probably overshoot this a little bit. And like we can add some 3D if we wanted to, so we could just go in and start to paint that all in. The thing that's going to be a little bit more tough now is to actually draw in the whole part, because at some parts here it will probably erase, because that's the whole thing about doing it on a whiteboard, is that those lines easily erase. Just like it did here, but we can fix that easily. It will be a little bit harder now on this side, because I need to rest my fingers on something else. Well, drawing straight lines without having a fixed point on the plate here is actually quite harder than it seems. But nothing is impossible. Even here, these lines, trying to keep the same angle, which looks not as good in this direction, like with those letters tilted downwards. But it does kind of look cool, right? I feel like this could be something that works really well. done with the 3D. Now that whole 3D gave the whole piece also just some more dimension, more depth to the whole thing. So we could add also just some elements in here to, again, fill out the space in between. So stars and little stars are often my favorites, and things that I probably use too much of, but also leaving some empty circles. And maybe we can add also just some little details inside the letters, which again is probably the hardest part of all. But to get a clean lettering done here in this whiteboard, you pretty much need to create the perfect letters right away. Otherwise you'll have some strokes and some lines and all that you don't necessarily want to have. And it used to be my practice every morning to summarize a chapter of the Bible and then to add in just some strokes here and there. And just to fill it all out. And that was actually a great practice. If you want to practice your lettering, I really recommend playing around with these elements, because that really helps you to create something extremely well, also tough and challenging too. And so on. Could also add some dots in here, or just some smaller inlines on the top, like this here. But But then sometimes too much details or too many details could... Whoa. This is not as easy. Not sure if I should have done that, but now I did. And now we have to commit. And then finally we can add some dots in here as well. To show you just how many option variations you can create by just adding some small things here and there. Voila. And here, maybe adding one more, a couple more stars. But there we go. Let all you do be done in love. All drawn on a whiteboard in just one go. So I hope that this was inspiring, that this was something creative and fun for you to watch. Of course, it doesn't take a lot of time to try and do that and create that. But again, also just a fun little practice that you can do at any time yourself at home by drawing that on paper, drawing that in a sketchbook, using a non-erasable marker just to do something that is harder, just more challenging for you to do. But hope that you had some fun trying to look at that. Again, we're halfway through the challenge, which is pretty exciting and amazing. And yeah, thank you for watching, for being here. Let me pray before we leave. And so thank God that you are with us all times, that you can that we can always count on you. And thank you for the creativity that you pour out in us and create in us. And so I want to thank you just to praise you for all of that. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, have a very fun afternoon, day, morning, whatever it is with where you are. And I hope to see you guys all soon. Day 16 tomorrow, live on YouTube. Goodbye.